kick off. All right, so let's get started. Good morning, everyone, and thanks for joining us. Today, we're continuing our webinar series on AI in the NetSuite ecosystem. This time, we'll be focusing on how FloQast is applying AI agents to transform the month-end close reconciliation and close and compliance process. So a little bit of housekeeping. We'd love to hear from you throughout the session. Use the chat box on the right-hand side of your screen to ask any questions throughout the session, and we'll get to those towards the end of the display. If you run into any technical issues, just message us via the chat and a member of our team will help you out. Okay, so here's what we're covering today. We'll start with introductions, and then I'll share a little bit about our partnership with FloQast. Then I'll hand over to the FloQast team to share their AI capabilities with a live demonstration. Finally, we'll finish up with some questions. Right, so let's introduce ourselves. My name's Renee, Customer Success Manager here at Annexa. I work predominantly with our Victorian and New Zealand-based customers to ensure they're getting the most out of their NetSuite investment, making sure our customer solutions are set up efficiently for today and future growth and expansion. My role requires me to work closely with our fantastic partners, such as FloQast, to make sure our customer solutions are tailored to their individual needs. Okay, so over to FloQast for intros on your end. Jason, do you want to kick off?
Yeah, sure will. Hi, everyone. My name's Jason Toshak. I look after the FloQast business here for the APAC region. And prior to FloQast, I was just over 16 years at NetSuite, so very familiar with many of your organisations here today, but also working with Matt and Ananda and the Annexa team. So we're looking after FloQast here for the last 2.5 years. But really happy to be here today and show you what FloQast is all about.
Yeah, lovely to meet everybody. My name is Sophie Gossage. I am a solutions consultant at FloQast. So that just means that I'm more on that kind of technical side of the product. So I will be running us through the demo. We've got 2 products we're going to show today, our AI matching tool and our Transform, which is our AI agents. My background is actually in accounting. I spent 5 years at KPMG, 3 in audit, kind of cutting my teeth there, getting my ACA, and then moved into M&A. And I was working in the tech side of M&A, which is where I really first heard about the movement that's happening in the AI space in accounting, and thought what FloQast was doing was incredible and really wanted to join that journey. So I started at the start of this year with the team, but looking forward to kind of showing you guys what we've got.
Thanks, guys. So I guess a quick snapshot about Annexa. I think most of you on the call today know who we are, but for those who don't, Annexa has been working with customers on business process solutions for more than 30 years now. Today, we're one of the leading NetSuite partners across Australia and New Zealand. Our work really is about helping organisations get the most from their technology, building connected cloud ecosystems that improve efficiency, streamline processes, and create a solid foundation for growth. An important part of that is the technology partnerships that we build. These are selective partnerships that bring us specialised tools like FloQast directly to our customers' environment, so they get the best in-class capabilities from trusted vendors. And we are very selective on our partnerships and proud of our partnerships. So yeah, that's a little bit of, I guess, about Annexa. In terms of our partnership and a little bit about, I guess, what brought us here today, for a long time, NetSuite offered only fairly basic functionality when it came to balance sheet reconciliation. If you wanted proper transaction matching outside of bank reconciliation, you needed additional apps. So this left a gap for customers who needed to be both compliant and efficient in these areas. So we went looking for the right partner in market. FloQast was a clear choice. It gave us a cloud-based system that plugs straight into NetSuite data with strong integration and automation. So I guess now you've heard a little bit about, I guess, why we partner with FloQast. I'll hand it over to the experts to really, so you can hear from them. Thanks. Over to you, Jason.
Many thanks, Renee. And once again, really happy to be here. Thanks for spending your time with us today. As I mentioned, I was with 16 years, just over 16 years with NetSuite prior to joining FloQast. And the way I became familiar with FloQast is really because we had some of the NetSuite clients that rolled out NetSuite, been using it for a while, but they were looking at further improvements, further automation, and things of that nature. So I started hearing FloQast's name come about. Even though there wasn't an office here, there were a few early adopters. So we probably had about 5 to 6 NetSuite customers that were utilizing FloQast prior to me joining and starting the offices over here. And over the last 2.5 years, we've brought on about 120 new clients, which has been great. But a little bit about FloQast. So FloQast really started as a month-end close and reconciliation tool. It's really, I suppose, matured into a full accounting transformation platform. So we were founded in 2013 by 2 ex-Big Four auditors. We've got about 80% of our frontline NetSuite frontline FloQast employees are all coming from an ex-audit or ex-accounting background. We've currently got 3,200 customers across the globe, and about half of those are NetSuite clients. FloQast itself is a NetSuite customer, so everything we do, although we do work with other ERPs, everything we do is for NetSuite first. So we've got around about 1,500 NetSuite customers globally. And the integrations, as you would imagine, are the tightest with NetSuite. Regions, we run in North America, being a North American company. Then we ramped out to EMEA, and about 2.5 years ago, as I mentioned, rolled out to Sydney, where we've got around about 30 people now. We've had about 100 plus innovations in 2024 and into 2025. And from a funding and background, we are still private, but we have gone through Series E funding, which was all about putting that money into the product development, which is mainly around that AI, especially in 2025. So yeah, you'll see today later on that we've got some great new enhancements moving from not just from the close all the way through to reconciliations, that AI matching, as was mentioned earlier on, but all the way through into our latest product, which is called Transform, which is all about AI and AI agents to help automate a lot of the manual processes you have in your organizations. Let's get to the next slide. So from a FloQast standpoint, our mission is very simple. It's really here to make the lives of accountants better. You'll find that accounting is changing incredibly quickly. We are here. We're super passionate, being that we've got the heritage of 2 Big Four auditors, one of which is now the Chief Product Officer, one is the CEO. And what we're seeing, it puts us in a great position to understand the challenges and changes that are happening in the accounting industry. And we're helping to make these changes work for accountants rather than against them. When we talk about AI, we do hear a lot of, oh, this is going to replace my job. There's a lot of fear involved, but we really see AI as a way of making accountants better, helping to automate those manual processes you've got, and really giving a little bit of that work-life balance back to the finance team. We do, yeah, with the pedigree we have around accounting, we absolutely understand. We've lived the challenges that accounting teams are facing today. There's growing complexity. There's not enough talent in the market. There's people leaving the finance and accounting profession. There's not enough backfilling them from a university standpoint and graduate standpoint. So we do understand that there's a growing complexity, not enough talent, constant pressure to do more with less, and in a more timely manner. And we believe we're in a really, really good position to help battle those challenges and to help those accounting teams address them. When it comes to accounting and AI, we really see that the first or the biggest benefit of AI is all about cutting manual work, as I mentioned. You know, there's so much repetitive, time-consuming manual tasks like reconciliations, classifications, flux analysis, reporting, etc., that can be automated. It's very easy. Customers are doing it today, and it frees hours and hours and hours across your finance teams. So really just making sure and trying to move those highly educated accountants within your teams from just being preparers and really moving them into reviewers and really focusing on more problem-solving activities. That's really, I suppose, the mandate and what we're looking to achieve. As we know, AI is definitely matured. One of the big things, you know, from an AI perspective, it's used everywhere. It can be used to automate, it can be used to help with your emails, etc., etc. However, the big thing from a finance perspective, as I mentioned before, it's really moving those preparers into being reviewers, giving them a little bit more value add work to do, and helping to, I suppose, give them a little bit more work-life balance, but also a little bit more pride and satisfaction within the accounting roles that they have today. The big thing with AI in accounting and the difference that it has in application with finance teams is AI outputs need to be audited. They need to be auditable. They need to be easy for the finance teams to be running. So what we're finding is, in addition to, I suppose, having those AI outputs being repeatable, being auditable, being correct, we needed to make sure that we can do things in an ethical way. And that's why FloQast was one of the first organizations to become ISO 42001 accredited, which is all about that ethical use of AI within the finance teams. So with that, I know that you've probably heard enough from me, and you'd like to say, okay, well, let's see this in action. So with that, I would like to pass over to Sophie Gossage, who's our senior solution consultant here for FloQast in the region, and she'll be able to run through some of the new and exciting additions and capabilities that FloQast has brought into the application, and also show you some real life application of that within the demonstration as well. So over to you, Sophie.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Jace. Yes, so as Jason mentioned, I'm going to be talking you through a lot of the AI capabilities that we have within FloQast. And what you can see on this screen here, everything highlighted in purple there is a list of some of our AI features within FloQast. And what's really important, I think, about FloQast as a tool is that we are an AI transformation platform. And by that, I mean that we are a fully integrated platform. So what you're seeing up here are not kind of point solutions. They're all fully integrated across the rest of the platform. So for example, our AI agents, which I will run you through later, they will take data from NetSuite as your kind of inputs. They're then going to run off those inputs. They're going to build out and perform normalization calculations within Excel. They're then going to create a journal entry off the back of that, if that is the determined use case for the agent. And then it's going to integrate back through our journal entry management solution. It's going to create those journals, and then it's going to post it back into NetSuite. And to round it off, the agents are then going to sign off the checklist items right at the back at the start of your process. So you now have an agent that's fully autonomously running through your process from top to tail. And we think that's really important because for you guys as customers, that now means you have more control over your process. It means you've got a slicker, more efficient process. And also you're helping to reduce down that tech stack, right? You've got the source and process running from across the process. But I've obviously spoken about AI agents there. And I think what we really want to do is empower you guys to be able to build your own agents. And why that's important is because we have learned that every company and every business and process is different. So we know that the tech that you're using may be different. Maybe that's different ERPs, maybe different source data. You've got different processes, the way that you actually run it. And therefore, it's the most relevant for us if we have you guys actually building these agents yourselves, which is why I'm really excited to announce that we have our AI agent builder. So this is a tool within FloQast that allows accountants without any experience or any knowledge of coding to build their own agents using no code. So this means that now you can build your agents without the need of expensive consultants, maybe introducing IT teams and trying to teach them the nuances of finance, which also can be very challenging. So instead, we're putting the power into your hands. I'm going to jump straight into a demo now because I'm keen to show you what that all looks like in reality. So as I just pull up my screen here, we have at FloQast actually been running our own progress competitions internally to come up with the best use cases for agents. And we've been running it. I've been building my own agents. I've gone through the agent builder program myself. We have a huge number of different use cases that we can use these agents for. Just to give you kind of a taste of what that sounds like. We have agents that have been built to do allocations, data normalization, things like your accruals or maybe cash burn analysis. We've had lease amortization schedules being built out in these agents. Really, the idea is that it's a three-part process. So we will be able to automate processes where we have inputs. So that maybe that's either an Excel or a CSV file, or it's something where we directly integrate to the system like NetSuite and pull data from there. We then do some transforming of the data. So that could be calculating, retransforming, data normalizing, doing formulas, for example, anything that you would be doing that is logic driven within Excel. And then we have our outputs. So we will produce those reports on the outside. So whether that's, again, that could be a journal entry, or it could just be back in those kind of Excel or CSV formats. But I'm going to start with a process that we actually built this agent out purely for our internal team. This was a process that was taking them 5 hours every month to do. It's an accrual. And I know many of us will have had experience of building out accruals. It's something that most companies will be working with, and it's obviously very manual, but typically is more logic driven as a process. So as I click in here, I'm viewing what is going on inside this specific agent. So this is a PO accrual where we're taking actually data, so invoices and purchase orders from Coupa. So this is a third-party system, and this is just showing you one of the integrations we have. We're then performing, after we fetch those two Coupa source datas, we're performing a number of different steps. As you can see me scrolling down here, these are all the different steps the agent's performing. So calculating what the expense is, cleaning up the data, mapping, extracting billing codes. We're actually fetching a journal entry template that's going to match NetSuite in this instance. And we're going to go all the way down to actually producing that journal entry. But I'm going to stick and click into one of these so you can see what's going on, because I can appreciate these are very high level steps. And so what I'm taking you into now is actually the AI builder itself. So I'm sure many of those on the call today will be very familiar with some form of ChatGPT or communication platform. On the left-hand side, this is that common communication style that you'll be familiar with. So this is where you're actually communicating with the AI and asking it to perform the tasks. So as you come in and actually build these agents yourselves, this is where you'll be spending your time. So you can see, for example, I want you to create a new sheet in the workbook, name it active POs. It's then confirming what it's doing for us. It's then we're asking it to copy the column headers. We're then getting down to, evaluating each row of data and against two criteria, start date, end dates, and understanding what would be an active PO. And so all of this is logic driven. And on the right-hand side, we can then see what are our active POs. So this is actually, in this instance, the Excel formula is being shown on the right-hand side. So as we build out these agents, we can see exactly what would be shown inside the Excel. And so we run through all these steps. And what's really important is that once we've built out all these steps, we're actually having the AI create script in the back end. So you can see it here. This is what it's built out just from this prompt here. And this is where it becomes super powerful, right? Because you as a finance team don't need to know that code. You just need to explain in natural English what you would be doing. The AI is then converting that into code in the back end. And so when we actually run these agents, and I can run this example for us here, what's happening is that actually it's now running off that code rather than using the AI to actually run the agent. And why that's important is because it now means that we're running off code, so it's deterministic. So if I was to run this agent 1,000 times, I will always get 1,000 times the same output with the same inputs. So that means now we don't have any risk of AI hallucinations. And from an accounting perspective, that's obviously super powerful and important. And to Jason's point earlier, we're obviously built by accountants for accountants, and that auditability is very much front of mind for us. And so auditors can actually come in and review that code as part of their audit. And that's what's a huge differentiator versus using a point solution and AI kind of chatbot where it's a closed box and you have no idea what's going on. In this instance, you now are able to see it. And equally, we also introduce what we have now stopped at, which is our human in the loop step. So this is where we're now bringing the accountants back into the process. So as Jason said, we're trying to elevate accountants from preparers. So from having to do all of these manual, 19 steps up to this point, we're now elevating you into this reviewer role. So it's now created this accrual for us. We can see we've got our debits and credits. I can either review that externally or internally. And now once I'm happy with this review, I can hit resume run. And now what you're going to see is that this process that was taking 5 hours for our internal team is now taking probably less than a minute to go through my review, to go through my process. And I have actually created a journal entry, which if I click through here, will take us to our journal entry management solution, where that journal is actually being built out. And with our direct and deep integrations with NetSuite, we can now actually push that journal entry back into your instance of NetSuite, either following approval flows that you have within FloQast or within NetSuite. So I'm just going to show you this example here. So here is the fully built out accrual. Here we have our debits and our credits, and we have our supporting documentation from Transform, and it's all prepared and ready to be reviewed. So hopefully that's shown you a bit of an example of what our use case is and how the agent works. There's a huge amount of benefits. Obviously, the natural, most obvious ones are those hard metrics. We have now got time savings in terms of that ROI, but equally now have all that process actually implemented within FloQast and stored, which means that if I was to go on holiday, someone else can come in and actually hit run on that agent. And that's going to be a huge time saver, but also freeing and allowing your team to then have more flexibility with their work. I'm now going to jump into our AI matching, which Renee kind of kindly mentioned at the top of the call is often something that can be a struggle with teams. So I want to show you another form of AI that we have within FloQast. So I've jumped into our central reconciliations tab here, and I'm going to filter down on one specific entity. And I filtered down onto my AI matching tool. So within FloQast, we have a tool that allows us to do matching of any two sets of data. So this doesn't need to be a bank reconciliation like other tools out there. This is flexible. We can do credit card, transaction matching. We can do clearing accounts. We can do debits and credits just for one side. A huge number of different use cases. But for ease, I will show you and talk you through briefly our example here, which is a bank reconciliation. And what really, again, makes us stand out is the way that we are using AI in order to create the rules that you do during implementation to get this up and running. And it's, again, no code. And your team just need to show FloQast an example of a rule, and it will then build it out for us. So in this example, let's say I'm going to do a batch payment. So I know that we typically have common references on my GL side that would represent one of my batch payments. So if I filtered down by the 235 here and select all the transactions on the left, so that's a 1.485 million transaction. On my bank, I know I get this as a batch. I can either search for that amount, or I can actually just see it here for ease. So what I've done is I'm showing FloQast one example of a match. I'm now hitting create AI rule. And so what it's doing is it's looking at the characteristics of this match. So it's looking at things like the amounts, the dates, the references. And now it's using AI to come up with the logic behind what that rule should be. So I'm going to scroll through a couple of other rules we already have within FloQast. To rule 7. So this is the latest rule it has created. And it's just spun up for us in natural English. So it's super easy for your team without any coding experience to be able to understand what these rules are. And as I read it for you, it says, for many-to-one matches in file 1, group transactions that have identical ref1 values and identical dates, then create a match when the dates fall within a one-day window and the amounts equal. So I know that sounds great. That is exactly how I actually created the match. But I can make changes super easily. I could maybe change the day of the window. Maybe I wanted to include a threshold of variance. Make those changes, hit save and apply. And now what's going to happen is that AI is going to convert that again into code. It's going to run that script across the rest of the data set. And it's now going to match off all the transactions that meet that same criteria. So from that one I first showed it, it's actually made 23 similar matches, which I can come in, I can review. And essentially what will happen is that every month your team will come in here, they'll build out all the rules across their data sets. They can come and do their review within the match transactions. And ideally, they'll just be left with what are their unmatched transactions. So truly unique items for them to then go and do investigation into. Now, there are a lot of other different functionalities within here. So, very happy to kind of run people through further demos. But in the interest of time, I am going to jump back into the slide deck. Now, I'm hoping that's going to just pop back up for me. Renee, I might need your help if that doesn't.
Yeah, sure. While we're waiting for that to pop up, oh, I think we're here now.
We got it. Perfect. Thank you, Renee. Okay. We've got a couple of extra slides here just to, or did you want to answer some questions?
Do you want me to, there is a few questions, so maybe we jump to those and then we can keep going. So one of them was, if you find the code is either no longer what you need or find errors and change the code, is there an audit trail to changing in the code?
Yes. Yeah, very good question. And I think, again, this is one thing that makes us stand out, is the ability and ease of editing code and steps. So what you can see previously, all those different steps, you can actually dive into one of them, edit it directly within there. You can actually change what your prompt was. It will then reformulate what that code is. You can then run a test. So then it will run through all the subsequent steps, checking that the following steps still make sense with those changes. If not, it will flag them and say, you need to go in and maybe update another step. And ultimately, all of that is going to be tracked in an audit log in the back end. And same with versions. So if you actually wanted to go back to an old version, you can actually go back into version 2 and run it off there as well. So really important to have that audit log.
Great, thanks, Sophie. One other question. What is the process for testing an agent before it goes live in production?
Yeah, good question. So the way that we test it is, as you can see, when you're building on the left-hand side, you then had the Excel being built out on the right. So you can literally run it as you're going through it. And then the way that you would test it is just to keep running new data formats and just checking that it's still working appropriately. It will actually tell you if things are not working, and it will highlight for you which steps aren't working. So you can then run and do that testing before you then switch it from pending into a live agent.
Great. And I think we've just got one more so far. How hard is it for finance teams to set up or tweak their own agents without leaning on AI?
Yes, good question. And I think sort of covered that already, but essentially really easy. All you need to be able to do is just communicate exactly what you would want it to do in English. And that is the beauty of it, is that you're not having to use IT teams at all. I showed you the script purely for understanding what it looks like, but you don't need to have any touching of that script. It's all being handled by the AI themselves.
Great, thanks, Sophie.
Yeah,
so I think there's just
to add, I was going to say, just to add to that, we have had some AI agent building trainings, and so far it's been 100% finance team and accountants. We haven't had any IT people on there doing those. It's all been run by accountants.
Perfect. Okay, I'm just going to kind of carry on here. So what I've popped up here is just really the roadmap of where we're heading with FloQast. You know, the innovation is not stopping just at these two tools, but we are really expanding our AI across the rest of the platform. And one thing I did want to call out here is AI detections, which is particularly for our NetSuite customers, really got that deep integration with NetSuite there, where we're able to bring in your transactional level data And then actually, again, using AI rules, set up what might be an anomaly within your data set to help you flag and find anomalous results, fraud, and also to identify where transactions are being posted that push a balance, an account out of balance. So that's a really exciting new tool that we are bringing out amongst a number of other kind of tools that you can see up on screen there. And the last thing I did want to talk to you, which Jace kind of just mentioned there briefly, is our FloQast certified accountant. So this is actually very cool, and I think it's really, really important. A lot of the things that we're seeing with the way that the AI is going at the moment is that we really want to ensure that us as accountants remain upskilled and can keep up and can learn to use the AI that is coming into our space, which is why we've built this program. So this is free to use and learn within our Flow Academy. So that's for customers to understand how to use our AI agent builder. So you will get a full sort of learning on how to use the builder, but also how to use AI prompting more broadly. I have personally found it to be really useful actually outside and inside of my work as well, amongst a number of other kind of tools within here. And that sort of rounds us off.
Thanks, guys. That was fantastic. Look, I think we've really learnt a lot from today. I hope that everyone on the call has enjoyed it. I think we're done with our questions. I think we've answered all those. Let me just double check. There's actually a couple more. When will the coming tools you mentioned be available?
So the AI detections is available now. There is kind of a roadmap across the next sort of quarter and into the start of Q1 for some of the other tools. So, but all of them are going to be available, in the short future. I'm happy to kind of talk through any of the different tools that people are interested in.
Yeah, but everything that Sophie demonstrated today, the matching, the transform, the agent building, etc., that's all real, all available now.
Yeah. So that was more just to that kind of roadmap slide that I was talking to.
And I will just say, one of the questions I noticed that came up in the polls was all about how are you currently managing your month-end reconciliations, and I think it was about 80+% was Excel, and that's really I suppose where and how FloQast became an application, became a company, but also then grew so quickly is because we're one of the only ones that actually integrate with Excel. So as much as we've got all the integrations with NetSuite, most accounting teams are still doing everything in Excel. So we integrate directly into that, which saves a lot of time, a lot of hand holding, a lot of double handling of data, etc., and also provides those detective controls that Sophie mentioned.
Thanks, Jace. All right, it's been a pleasure having the team from FloQast here. Thank you for joining everyone who joined on the call. We will be emailing out a summary of today's call and the video if you need to watch it again or pass it over to team members. Feel free to reach out. We'd love to hear from you and have a great rest of your day, everybody. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks for joining, everybody.